Tonight, we're going to be talking about characters, where you can find them, which ones we like the best, all those encounters. We'll talk about the Food and Wine Festival coming up. We got a big preview going on of that. Rogers the Musical happened. Lots more tonight on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for July 9th, 2023. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We really appreciate you. If you haven't already, subscribe to WDWNT TV during this show. That would be great. And give us a thumbs up, as it helps people to find us. And we have a great cast of people prepared to talk all things Disney with you. All of my good friends are here, including Allison.
Good evening, everyone.
Kamila.
Hi, everyone.
And of course, Mr. Patrick Hackett.
I got munchlings.
Oh, Lord. We're going to have that conversation later, man. I know we will. But tonight, the first thing I want to talk about is characters, because this is something, we try to, in ParksCenter, we do a kind of a rapid fire about things that happen in the parks and parks news, but we also do bigger topics, including things like character dining and Disneyland versus Disney World. But this week, we want to talk about characters and the best character experiences. And what prompted this conversation for me was that Merida is getting kicked out. I mean, that's wrong, right? Somebody's kicking Merida out. So Merida was in the edge of Fantasyland. She had her own meet and greet station, and now she has been kicked into Liberty Square, where she has a dangerous weapon inside the park. I don't know how she got that past security, but she's in there doing that. There was also a story that we had this week of I've lost it here. Nope. There it is. It was a character costume visibility change, which I don't understand this at all, Allison, because the characters they're real. So what is this whole visibility thing? I don't understand. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
I mean, I wish I could explain to you how this thing is going to work, but I think they needed this, and they needed this 40 years ago. It's really hard for them to see people, and no matter what they've innovated, it's especially with really small children, and it looks like they're trying to interact with you through their mouth instead of their eyes, and so it's great that they're trying to figure out a way to make it more natural.
Yeah, I guess I need to do spoilers that we're going to talk about a lot of very specific things about characters. So Patrick, a lot of these things you're going to have to do earmuffs for me, buddy, okay?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. You said they needed this a while ago, Allison. I went back and looked at the evolution of Mickey Mouse, and the first 4 of them I want nothing to do with. If I see them in the park, I'm going to run the other way. My Mickey is the one on the far right. He's a little bit better, and then today, I mean, it always gets a little bit stronger from time to time on how they do these characters. But Kamila, I feel like that the Disney characters are one of those things that make the Disney difference. That you don't just go because it's not Knott's Berry's Farm and you have roller coasters. You actually go for a lot of things, but the one thing that really makes it magical are the characters. Agree?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely think the characters are what motivate a lot of parents to get their kids not only in the parks, but also in those expensive character dining opportunities. And it's about the IP. Their kids grow up watching, these shows, these movies, and now this is their chance to meet them in real life.
Yeah, and so, for me, there are certain ones that I think have been a bigger deal, but when we went through COVID, there was this whole thing about how are we going to interact with the characters, and that's when they came up with the character sightings. So there's a lot of different ways to interact with the characters, but the character sightings I thought was a really neat solution. Being able to have a character like Joy over by in EPCOT over near Journey, and being able to see her walk around and take pictures and maybe take a picture over their shoulder. And in some cases I like this better because my daughter, who is almost 20, hates characters. She doesn't want anything to do with them. She loves the idea of them. She likes to look at them from far away, but she kind of hates characters. I think I've told the story that the Bon Voyage breakfast, the Flynn rider that used to be there, came over and he was like, "Oh, you don't really want to interact here, do you?" And she kind of like said no, and so then he knelt down beside her and just would not leave. But
Flynn, that's not the right thing, dude.
But anyway, so she kind of dug the idea of these character sightings. But I remember, like, going into the parks when COVID was at its highest, thinking, what are they going to do? Because again, to me, Patrick, this is the Disney difference. I don't think you went during that time, or did you, or have you had this experience?
I did not. I was tail end of COVID, and I gotta say, the surprise of some of it's great. I love seeing Winnie the Pooh. It's a great interaction over by Imagination. Having people just come out to the train station and wave is great. We actually just got the DVC magazine, and there are pictures of Aurora walking around the park with guests. And you might want to take a guess at what my soon-to-be 4-year-old hung on to. Daddy, why don't I get to walk around with Aurora? We don't go to California that often. It's 100% the Disney difference. And I mean, we're talking kind of like a big idea of the character meet and greet, but let's talk specifically about what triggered this. What is Merida doing in Liberty Square? Like, why? She didn't belong where she was, but at least they made it look nice for her, and she is amazing. One of the best interactions you can get, and I'm sure Mirabelle will be too. But we're not going to be able to just get away with just Mirabelle. They understand that, right? Like Luisa, Isabella. I don't think anybody wants to meet Abuela. Maybe Bruno. Abuela's the bad guy. If we're not all clear on that, Abuela's the bad guy.
I love, though, Patrick, you said that you don't think Merida belongs in Liberty Square, but she's located in the Enchanted Glade gazebo, if that helps.
Which is where Tiana used to hang out, and it worked really well for her. It was a great place to meet her. Every now and then Naveen was there too. But I think I mentioned this last time. Why are we taking things away and not adding them? There is dead space in this park. Why is Tom Sawyer Island still a thing?
What are you going to do with it, man?
Tom Sawyer Island.
Wait, what are you going to do with it, though? What are you going to do with it instead? I mean, there's not an
literally
easy, like,
anything else.
I mean, I guess you could build a bridge over there and maybe put something over there, but I mean, the whole raft idea, that's not magical to you, buddy?
No, I know what's in that water, and I want no part of it. That is way too close to danger.
They drain it. They drain it every so often. You should be fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, every so often. Yeah. Animals don't move, Rob. They just stationary.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, Scottish Highlands over there on Tom Sawyer Island. We can throw a caber. That is how you throw a caber. And a person, just, But I love Merida. The movie, I love the meet and greet. I'm excited for Maribel. I'm wondering how they're going to transition the actual space and see what they got going on there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think they need to do something big because I know that my wife is huge into Encanto. A lot of people are. There really isn't a good representation other than some of the projections in the nighttime shows and things. So I think it would be great to have some bit of casita or something going on back there. I think it will, as you said, I think it'll fit pretty well there. And I think it's probably going to be kind of a little bit of a litmus test of what should go on the other side of Big Thunder. If people are going crazy and 2-hour waits, which people have done, people did that for Rapunzel when she was in this spot. There were 2-hour waits. I had a guy who was a friend of mine who I was like, oh, Disney, you're going to love Disney. Take your daughter. It's going to be fantastic. And he's texting me going, I just spent 2 hours waiting in line to meet a college student dressed up like Rapunzel for 20 seconds. Yeah. No, but I mean, he didn't understand that was really her. I think he was confused. I do have to say, we have a super chat from Jungle Cruiser Allison, and he said, Allison, great to see that you have the Mickey Premium Bar. And then he said, hopefully next weekend we will see the Skrull at Avengers Campus. like we've gotten a little bit of a teaser of that maybe as Alien and or the Secret Invasion show goes on, that we'll see Skrull at Avengers Campus. And that's a great example too, is Avengers Campus has so many characters and most of them are roaming, like you were talking about, Patrick. So I mean, I feel like that the roaming characters are really kind of one of those things where I don't know how I feel about it. If you are in Galaxy's Edge and you see Rey and you see Chewbacca, and Kamala, I'll throw this one to you. You know, that's cool that you see them, but like the stormtroopers, and you know, I'm fumbling to try to get my camera out or my phone, and they're just gone, and it's like I don't get to have that interaction necessarily. But sometimes you have an interaction, but you don't really meet and greet them. But again, the roaming characters, you have the ones through Avengers Campus, you have the ones through Batuu. What are your thoughts on that one?
I like the roaming characters, and I think what stands out to me about it is not everyone wants to stand in a line. Kind of, you know, to your friend's point, that's not always ideal. And I think not everyone is a big character person. Like, I think for a lot of us, it's fun to see them throughout the parks. But like for me personally, I'm not someone who's going to stand in line, but I love when I can see them, when I can wave from afar. And I would say, you know, Galaxy's Edge is one of the places where I really like how they manage it. And this was at Star Wars night specifically, but it was so fun to just like see Rey just wandering around. And, you know, of course there was a cast member with her, but you couldn't always tell who it was. And like people were running up, getting photos. They were chatting about her with what they recently saw. Like, I just thought that was a really fun way. And when you're standing in that line to meet someone, it's a very different experience to me. And if anything, you almost feel more pressure to hurry, get the photo, whereas you can interact very differently when they are just roaming. So I really like that.
Okay. So we have the sightings, which are still a thing, and you can catch those folks behind you or over your shoulder. It was really weird when Universal did the sightings. They would put them up on a stage that looked like it was set up from a convention hall that they had left over, one of those bad, like, you know, 6-inch tall stages, and they'd put it in the middle of the place, and then like Captain America would stand and like flex in, you know, Marvel Superhero Island, and then you'd have to like get him over your shoulder or whatever. And I saw the saddest thing. It was the Thing 1 and Thing 2 sitting on chairs, nobody around them. So I mean, that was weird at Seuss Landing. But anyway, but what I was going to say was that, you know, we've got sightings and we've got those roaming characters like Stitches now in Tomorrowland. And then you've got the meet and greet areas. And so one of the things that I was looking at, and I kind of showed it my hand a little bit here, is that there's Enchanted Tales with Belle. This is an experience. This isn't just a meet and greet. This is a huge experience where you go through the building, and then you finally get to talk to Lumiere, who wants to set up this big fantastic surprise for Belle. She comes in, and again, my son, who is older than should be excited about this, was like, "Oh, Belle gave me her favorite bookmark," and it's just like, great, cool. And I was like, everyone got one. I don't know if they still do that part or not, but it was one of these things. Okay,
yeah.
So don't tell him because he thinks he got the only one. But this is the kind of thing they were ready to set up in New Fantasyland, because there was going to be one with Cinderella, and there was going to be one with Aurora, and there was going to be one with Belle. And then I think that Tom Staggs at the time, who had sons, was like, this is a little too much princessy for us. Let's try to put something else in there. And that's when the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train took over that. And then we got Princess Fairy Tale Hall and lost the Snow White's in Scary Adventures. So, Patrick, my question to you about that is, have you been in Fairy Tale Hall?
Of course I've been in Fairy Tale Hall. They need to switch up the princesses in Fairy Tale Hall. It's a lot of the same ones over and over again, and I want some more variety. Although, I gotta say, I've never watched Elena of Avalor, nor has my daughter, but she always makes such a huge impression on my daughter, so it's really nice to see. I remember we were talking about Pixie Hollow back in the day. I'm wearing all my WWNT stuff. We just celebrated our 16th anniversary and my 11th or 12th year with the company, something like that, which now is my longest running position. So, I just remember back in the day, talking about Pixie Hollow and what we were going to expect there. And really all we got from all that was the one Belle meet and greet. I would like a little more pomp and circumstance in Princess Fairy Tale Hall.
Well, we also got the Be Our Guest restaurant was part of the original
Yeah.
plan, and the aerial ride was part of the original plan, and we do have the aerial meet and greet that's in there. So there are some of those things, but there were supposed to be a few more things. So I agree. I agree. There. It would be nice to have, because again, like I said, I feel like this makes the Disney difference. It's nice when there are these dedicated places to meet them, mixed with the sightings, mixed with the ability to just see them roaming around. Let's switch to the hard to find category, because I feel like there are a lot of characters either that we love that come for a hot minute, like the Avengers campus stuff, where it's like, hey, if you want to meet Mr. Knight, go ahead and plan a trip in the next 17 days. I don't get to do that because that's far away from me. I know, Kamila, you can just scoot on over there and get your picture taken with, like, Doctor Strange or whoever seems to pop up. But one of the things that I remember was they did a character thing, and I don't know if you guys remember seeing this, that was supposed to be the perfect tweet, and they used all kinds of Disney characters, and they made a hashtag out of it. You guys remember seeing this? And it was 140 characters, like back when that was the limit. So it was 140 characters.
Yeah.
And so in looking at this, I'm like, where can I see Bolt? Where can I run into Carl? Like some of these characters that are in here, like Flick, you don't really see Flick a lot, or a full-size
okay.
Sebastian, or like all the dwarfs. Some of these things, Lotso, there's a lot of these that are in here, and I know it's kind of hard to see, like Robin Hood and Prince John. And there were some things that they did back in the day where they did a Long Lost Friends promotion, where they would bring out some that were that we didn't get to see often, but some of them I get, like Roger Rabbit, I'm sure is Allison lost in litigation somewhere. But is there anything else, Allison, on your list that you're like, you wish you could still find, or that they haven't brought out in a million years?
I mean, there's stuff at Disneyland that they bring out for parties that like I'd really love to see, like, because they know there's just like all these people who are craving 90s nostalgia. So I'd really like to see Max. But really, it's like, I don't understand like why we're just now getting a Mirabelle meet and greet, and then my daughter is constantly like, "Where can I meet Maui?" And like these basic things are like, these are the most popular characters, the kids who are going to Disney now, and like you can't find them. And that's what's hard for me. But the nostalgia is, I just miss some of the stuff that you would see in the 90s.
What about you, Kamala?
So I will tell you, and I say this again, I'm not a character person, and I don't have kids, so I really don't have like a reason to see characters. But there is a video out there of Tiana and Naveen in one of the parades, and I swear I saw that, and I was like, oh, it was in Magic Happens, and I was like, I literally booked a trip to Disneyland, and I'd been thinking about it anyway, but I was like, this is a sign that I need to do it, and so I would love to be able to have a meet and greet that's easily available to meet both Tiana and Naveen, because I love them both.
Yes.
But I'm really excited also to meet the Little Mermaid 2023. I'm hoping she's still there when I go in September, and I'm really jealous of all my friends who have already got that photo. So.
Well, and that is a really cool meet and greet. That one's set up over by It's a Small World, the one out in California, and so I think that'll probably continue because the lines are usually pretty long for that one. But the thing that you were talking about with Magic Happens, that float with the two of them, like I was at the end of the parade and I was like, how do they keep this energy? I mean, Naveen and Tiana steal the show. They're so good. And then you're right. Like you want to meet the two of them together, and that's what the Bon Voyage breakfast was over at the boardwalk.
That needs to come back.
Yeah. So the food's still there, but you don't get to meet them. But it was like Flynn Rider and Rapunzel, and you got to meet Prince Eric and Ariel, and there was one other couple that I feel like I'm missing, or maybe it was just them. I'm not sure. But anyway, it was a neat thing to have that combination there and be able to meet both of them. But I will say, other than the Magic Happens parade, where Prince Philip is great, Naveen is amazing, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, Patrick, I think that usually the princes kind of suck.
I mean, I don't think that's an invalid statement. A lot of the princes are very vanilla. Naveen is one of the few that has personality. I think we could do with a little more Aladdin. Aladdin has some personality around him, but charming, Philip, other charming, Beast when he's not a beast. They're all just kind of meh. There's a few here and there with some personality, and we'll get them out there. I think The hard to find characters, the biggest problem is they are at hard ticketed events, and you need to decide: is my night going to be to meet Jack and Sally? I know that one's always a huge line. Or for a while at Very Merry, it was all 7 dwarves. But that's not going to be my whole time. I'm not going to just get in line. I love the Long Lost Friends. I miss the limited time magic. Limited time magic was such a great idea.
Yeah. Well, and Oogie Boogie, the characters are fantastic on the treat trails, and those are more sightings. You're not meeting them, you're running by them, but you get to see Sid, and you get to see just, an amazing array, Agatha, of characters that you wouldn't see anywhere else. So I agree with you. They do save them for some of those hard ticket events. The Atlantis couple being at one of those events was so awesome. I would love to see some of that stuff or more of that stuff too, because a lot of times you see Mickey and Minnie and Donald and Daisy and Chip and Dale and Goofy. And then, and those are the main ones, and we'll talk about that in a second. What I would like to switch back to, and by the way, before we go on from the Prince thing, mostly I'm not saying that that the princes aren't cool. I'm saying that the look they give them, I don't know if it's the wigs, I don't know if it's the outfits, they just look horrible. They just look horrible usually. What? But again, Naveen.
Rob, why would you blame our WWNT Interglobe Society for something like that?
Oh, I see what you did there. No, I wouldn't do that. Sounds like you are. You have a problem with them? You can speak now. Let's go on the magical moments, because I think that we've all had that time. And Kamila, you said you don't have kids and you don't have any reason to meet up with these, but maybe I'm sure you did as a kid, or at least you do it for the gram every now and then. You go and you meet one of the characters. But there was some magical moments and encounters that I will never forget, and one of them was, and I've shared it on a previous show, is that my daughter, we had this, we were there during a hurricane at Disney World. They shut down the parks, but they opened up after the hurricane was gone at the Artist's Palette over at Springs, and we went over to there, and they had kind of a little party, and there was a Donald there, and my daughter was not maybe 10 months old, and Donald sat down on the floor, put his hands out, and she went to him, and I'm crying on the inside right now just thinking about how magical that moment was for me. Same thing happened on a cruise ship, a magical moment where, and we will never forget this, is that my son fell and he hit his head, and Chip ran over and picked him up and did a, kind of holding him a little dust off him. Again, we're just bawling. I mean, it's so wonderful, especially when it's your kids, when you have those moments. And Allison, I don't know if you guys have had those moments or have one from when you were little or something you can share.
I mean, I think every single time I'm crying for something, even when it's not just a standard one, because you just see your kid's face. And I didn't get it before I had a daughter at all. I was always oh, just go on the attractions. The characters was not the thing for me. But one of the best experiences I had was at the Garden Grove in can't remember if it's Swan or Dolphin. It's not there anymore. But because it's not that popular restaurant, and because she was 9 months old, so she didn't know the characters, didn't notice that Mickey was missing, because in the non-Disney hotel character, they don't have Mickey and Minnie, but they had Chip, Dale, and Pluto, and there might have been some others, but we're the only people there at 5 p.m. And so for 45 minutes, Chip, Dale, and Pluto are playing with her exclusively, literally 45 minutes, because there was no one else in the restaurant playing with my 9-month-old. And I got the most amazing pictures. She loved it because it was these life-size plushies that had come to life. It were just it was the best experience. And we had gone earlier that day to the Crystal Palace, and we paid $300 to be rushed out and to have been seated at a table where everyone had just gone, and it was near her nap time, and wait an hour for them to come. It was so terrible. And then this magic happened at the Garden Grove later that evening. It was just wild.
And by the way, Care Bear asked, I hope your son wasn't hurt seriously from the fall. He actually got one of those hit, when your kid hits their head and they get that egg on their head. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm real smart.
Okay, cool. No, I think you are too, and good looking too. But he got one of those that just started swelling up almost immediately. But yeah, he was fine. I mean, but it took the sting out of it so quickly. But Allison, I love those stories. Let me ask you, Patrick, same question. Magical moment.
I actually have one without my daughter, which is really fun to say. I absolutely love the Garden Grill. Food's fantastic, and Mickey came by. It was pretty slow, much like Allison was saying. It was pretty slow. I'm like, oh, Mickey, it's so good to see you. I can't wait to see you later tonight at Fantasmic. And then Mickey proceeded to do the Fantasmic dance for us. It felt like 5 minutes. I don't know how long it was, but it was just amazing just watching him do the Fantasmic dance. I will always remember that. It was just me and my wife. But seriously, if you're looking for a meal, good food, good character interactions, and that was a magical moment for me I'll never forget.
Yep. When I went through traditions, when I was a Disney cast member, we went through traditions 1 and 2 and showmanship. They brought out at the end the boss, and we got to meet Mickey on like in that small space. And again, that was it. Just I was bawling, and I probably shouldn't have been, but I'm just so emotionally attached. When you see that, you forget everything else. You're like, that's Mickey Mouse. And it's always very exciting to see, and I still to this day have that experience. Any of those feelings that you have, any magical moments, Kamila, that you can remember?
I mean, I appreciate all the times that like I have met characters. I feel like for me, what's always been the most fun is actually at Oogie Boogie Bash on the treat trails and just like chatting with the evil queen about whatever's going on, seeing Dr. Facilier, Oogie Boogie. That's probably what I would say.
So yeah, I one of the things though that I feel like too is that when people go for the first time, you're not going to be able to do it all. And you just can't. And still, all of us on the panel feel like we still haven't done it all when it comes to Disney. And we've done a lot of Disney between the four of us. But I would say, though, there are some must-do characters, must-do character meals. I feel like, we did a different show on character meals, and we could talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But as far as just like must-do characters, I don't know if he still comes out. But Gaston, he doesn't? Okay. Gaston was so good. Like, it was one of those things where, like, you could just stand there and just watch him interact with other people all day long, and it was so good. And then some people would try to kind of, give him some sass back, and he would just shut them down. And it was just, he was so incredibly good that that's one of those things where I would get excited to see that he was there and stand there and just watch how everybody else interacted with him. But I think that if it's your first time, you got to have at least a Mickey pick, and then also Stitch is always so fun. Shout out to Jake, but I mean Stitch. I remember being at PCH Grill in California, and Stitch came up behind my son and started like picking at his hair. I mean, it's just like it's one of those really fun characters that if you get a chance to see Stitch, you should definitely do that. Kamila, what were you going to say, or do you have any must-dos?
I have a funny to me Gaston story, which is I remember, and this was pre-COVID, but one time we were actually waiting for our Be Our Guest lunch, and we saw Gaston lining up to meet people, and so I was with my sister, and we were like trying to take a photo of him because we thought he was really attractive, and he was like, "Ladies, come get in line. Don't you want to get closer to me?" And I was like, and then I just like ran the other way. I was like, "No, I'm scared." But no, he was such a fun meet and greet, such a big personality. Like, they always found the right people to play that character.
What do you mean, right people? I mean, it's Gaston. I don't understand the question. Patrick, back to you on this one.
No one casts like Gaston.
That's right.
Oof. Patrick, any that you would recommend as a must-do?
My must-do used to be Town Square, and I just don't feel like it's there anymore. Seeing Mickey talk, and I get the problem that it caused, but that was my go-to. I would always tell everyone to do that. Where you really get some great character interactions, it's a lot of fun, is Mickey and Minnie over in Animal Kingdom is a great one, and Doug. Doug is one of the most fun characters you can meet over there at AK.
Okay. By the way, here's a picture of the Gaston meet and greet.
Good.
And him just like,
So fun.
I mean, cheesing it up so hard. Allison, same question. Any must-dos?
So this is a strange one for a non-face character, a costume character, I actually think Donald is a ton of fun, especially if like my daughter always is like, it's my favorite, which like just like plays to his ego so much. So he spends a whole lot of extra time with her, and she'll talk about all the other times she met him. And like when he came out on Disney on Ice, she was like, how did he get there all the way from the cruise ship? Like, I don't understand how he's in Illinois. Because he's spent so much time with her, he'll just like go on walk around with her, like, and so that's happened both on the cruise and also several times from the EPCOT by the Mexico Pavilion meet and greet with Donald, because she's just such a big vocal fan of his.
That's the best Donald meet and greet. I have a story for that, which I'll save for our post show if you're one of our WDWNT wigs. Patreon.com/WDWNT.
Now the WDWNT wigs,
I'm unemployed. I need some of that wig money. So help me out.
Let me just say though that the one that I had to go see, and it's ridiculous because first of all, I love Chippendale. Absolutely, they're the best. They're always so fun. Garden Grill, great. We had Chip like cut our food one time. I mean, it was like it's so fun having seeing those characters. But man, you throw these outfits on them, and I have to go see them. And I did. I went and had my picture taken with them. They were over in over by. They've been moved recently, but they're over at Hollywood Studios, and that was great. And then Max's Power Line was really cool. So some of these limited edition ones are really neat to see. But I got to say though, what was really funny was we're not going to talk about Indy, but that was something that the whole Indy Day, the Dial of Destiny Day on the 30th of June that happened. We didn't get to cover because we were off for July 4th, but the ladies were going nuts over Indy. I mean, like, he was just like every soccer mom was freaking out about Indiana Jones being there. So I think that should show them he should be in the park more often. But anyway,
roaming through the ride, that was so cool.
Yep. Or up on the Jungle Cruise in the in the queue area, like looking at maps and studying things and all that. But I guess it was like the big talk of the town when that was happening. Patrick, you have something to say before we move on?
That doesn't cost that much. Just do things like that. That's not that expensive. You're not paying these people a livable wage so they can come out and do that. Like, why is this so hard?
Yeah, no, I agree. There were a lot of other things and places that you could meet characters. They used to have that double-decker bus that would go around EPCOT for that big opening. You see them if you want to just see them at the Castle Show. The Castle Show has a ton of characters that come out that they introduce, and that's kind of fun, at least just to get a glimpse of them. And we did a whole show about character meals, but I think that with the character meals now, it feels like they should broaden them and have more choices for characters, because like again, I'm thinking back to when 1900 Park Fair did the villains meal, and that was like my son's favorite because you can meet Captain Hook, and you met Prince John, I think was at that one, and Governor Ratcliffe, and like characters you don't normally see. And that's kind of fun. He is at his heart a Slytherin, so I understand, like as a kid it started early that he wanted to always be around the bad guys. But other than the sightings and the roaming and the meet and greets, is there a character meal that you would recommend to people who are watching, Allison? Because again, we've done a show about that, but and I feel like maybe you would not recommend Crystal Palace, but if there was one that you would recommend.
I prefer Askersos to pretty much anything else. And the food is actually good, and like the experience is really nice. But I get like, of the existing ones right now, I think that's the best one to do.
Gotcha. Patrick?
1900 Park Fair. Really do it for breakfast, do it for lunch or dinner. Great character interactions there. I had a great time with the Mad Hatter back in the day, and the fairy godmother planted a huge kiss on my daughter when she was young, and literally everyone in the photo is crying. I actually just looked at it. Everyone is just misty-eyed with my daughter with a big fairy godmother kiss on her cheek. And the food's surprisingly good. Shout out to Strawberry Soup.
Well, that's not open right now. 1900 is the only restaurant that I know of that is not open post-COVID.
Get out of here!
Nope, still locked up.
I just assumed.
Nope.
Wow.
No. Yeah,
What
and,
are
and it was a
we
good.
doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing? No, I mean, meals, and for anybody who has had to book them, meals are hard to book unless you want like Nine Dragons. Everything else is going to be difficult to find a seating at. And even like, restaurants like that, they're great. They just have a high quick turnover. But it's hard to get. And you would think one more restaurant, like if everything else is filling up, why wouldn't you, open up Park Fair, 1900 Park Fair? But last time I was by there, it was all locked up still. So, yeah. No, I agree with you though. Good meals to have. Kamila, same question.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the storybook dining over at Wilderness Lodge, especially if it's adults only. I just think like between the ambiance and the characters, I think it's really fun. But for the and more part of this, can I just say, I really wish they would bring more of these character meet and greets to EPCOT. I mean, Disney seems so focused on trying to convince families to not only go to EPCOT, but to spend more time there. And I feel like they have so much space to set up some of these meet and greets there. I wish they would commit to that.
Well, and we have the Figment meet and greet coming, which should be very cool. But I wonder if it's going to be a limited edition. You're like, where is it? It's time. But I wonder if it's going to be limited edition, because there was the meet and greet with Groot and the Star-Lord Steve over at Disney Hollywood Studios, where it was the little animatronic, adorable, but it was only for a limited amount of time, and then they stopped it. There was, they did a Wall-E at one point that was around. They did Muppet Labs. They do things like that are very short-term experiences. And when they go away, it's just like, what are you doing with that? Where is that? Why can't we do that? Could pay the intern, $18 an hour to bring it back. Like, why don't we have those things happening? So the Hulk's a great example. Like, they went to all this trouble and expense to create this giant Hulk character, which looked phenomenal at D23. They rolled him out to Avengers Campus for like a day. I don't know. It wasn't very long. And then they were like, now he's gone. So I don't know if it's just difficult to run that kind of stuff. But if you're doing these extra character experiences, I hope Figment should be a mainstay. The character, like, the full-size character, probably not great, but like the Dreamfinder walking around with Figment, that was great. If you can do something in that wheelhouse, like, please leave that all the time. And that's a great example, Kamila, for that. So I want to wrap this part up and just say, again, to me, the Disney difference is things that, the pop-up shows, the parade that comes out of nowhere, just the little surprise and delight things that they do all the time. But the Disney difference is also these characters, because they have such great IP. I mean, Marvel and Star Wars and the Muppets and all of these things that, like, this is their home, and you should be able to go to their home and meet them.
We need Bluey.
Yes, we absolutely need Bluey. Oh my gosh, my heart. Bluey, yes. Kamila, if you have any pull whatsoever, and you look like the kind of person who does, if you could make that happen, that would be great.
Let me just call Bob.
Yeah. Quick around the horn, final thoughts. We'll cut to commercial and come back with some news. But let me start with Kamila. Final thoughts on the characters in the encounters.
Let us meet BB-8 and Star Wars Launch Bay. Please don't give up on Star Wars Launch Bay, and let us meet BB-8. That's my final thought.
Okay, Patrick.
I would like to meet all of the Ghost crew from Rebels somewhere, please.
Oh, oh Lord.
That's it.
Oh my God, that would be
them.
amazing.
Yeah.
And Allison, say Maui.
Yeah, obviously Matt. Well, really, I just want to meet The Rock. So can we just make that happen?
Dwayne, get over here into the parks.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys talking characters, and again, it's a huge part of the Disney experience, and we'll talk about it more in the future. But again, we have a previous episode where we talked a lot about the character dining, but it's really a big deal, and I think a lot of people who don't take the time to do it, you really should. Just it really hits you in the heartstrings. But Patrick, to your point, if you're doing it at a hard ticket event, it could be your entire track for the evening is just to meet five. I'm going to meet Moana. I'm going to meet Marie, and I'm going to meet the Jack and Sally couple, and maybe Red, and then I'm going home after spending $149 for a hard ticketed event. Anyway, so we're going to be right back to talk about parks news, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I'm making sure we're all set here. We'll be right back. This is Disney Entertainment News Today. I'm Rob Whiteside, and here now are the top Disney entertainment stories.
For the latest in Disney Entertainment News, watch Disney Entertainment News Today, hosted by Rob Whiteside. From movies and series news to stage shows, books, video games, and more. New episodes drop every Tuesday on WWNT.tv.
Welcome to News Today with Universal Parks News Today. I'm Tom Corliss. Here now the news.
Welcome back to ParksCenter. Thank you guys so much for being with us on a Sunday night. And again, please make sure to give this video a like, as that helps people to find us. Don't forget that we have been gone for a week or so, so a lot of things happened when we were gone. But moving forward, we're going to be here with you every week throughout the rest of the summer. So please make sure to come back every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for more great information from fine folks like these. One thing I wanted to talk about, though, that happened in our immediate past here was Rogers the Musical for a lot of reasons. One is that when they first announced this, Patrick and I were going crazy. We're like, oh my God, yes, finally this is happening. And we had to go and we had a show, and I think, Kamila, you were on it. And then you were like, okay, quick question, what is this? Right? Like, and we were like,
Very upsetting.
yeah. Wait, what was that?
I still don't know what it is, but I'm excited for it too.
Okay, so first wait a minute though. You said you're going to go see it in August. So I was just like, when you told me that, I was like, finally she's on board. Like, that's great. That's awesome.
I'm on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm on board with the idea of a show. I'm excited that everyone else seems excited, and I'll figure out what it is when I go. And by the way, I do plan on doing the VIP seating, and I should get it because I'll be staying at the Disneyland Hotel, so I'll be there first.
So let's talk about that. So I was there on the 30th, the very first show. Now, the very, very, very first show was probably a cast member thing. Like, yeah, look at you eating your popcorn. But then they did a D23 exclusive showing for Gold members on Thursday, and then the very first public show was on Friday morning. And so I was there, and I was at a Disney hotel, and I got there 30 minutes, beforehand, and got into the park and just kind of strolled over to the place. And there were already about 12 people in line. And I thought to myself, how do you guys know about this? Like, why are you here? I should have exclusivity here. Went over, stood in line with my family. And then I'm getting messages from all of our reporters that are going, wait, are you in line? Can we sneak up with you? We're still a rope drop. Can we get up there with you? And I said, these people will kill me. And there was just this huge line of people that were waiting to get this VIP package, that they were, waiting for rope drop. And, we got the whole speech about how it had to go. It was $29 a person. And I know it's like, okay, that sounds like a lot, but you got a souvenir popcorn bucket with the red, white, and blue kettle corn, and a drink of like a soda or a water of your choice. And then a photo, there was a photo spot with, that looked like a big playbill. And then they would tap your band and you got to keep that photo. And then they had a lounge outside in front of what used to be Flynn's Arcade during the Electronica. They were like umbrellas and some chairs, and you could hang out in that area before they let you in. And once they let you in, everybody who walked in first, you walked in, and it was 100 people per show. You walked in before anybody else and basically grabbed whatever seat you wanted for $29. And $29 a person is not bad. That reminds me of that Hungry Bear. Kamila, I think you and I have talked about that. The Hungry Bear seating for Phantasmic. It's like, okay, I'll go to the Blue Bayou and spend $200 for two of us for lunch, so I can go to the Phantasmic show, or I'm going to spend $24 at Hungry Bear and get the same seating. This one was quite a deal to be able to do this, and we were there and got the very first show and got the last tickets for the first show, and it was great. And I again would highly recommend the VIP package for this one. But Kamila, you're planning on going out there. What do you expect to see if you don't have any idea what's going on?
I'm hoping that I'll figure it out by like actually seeing the musical. And I'm kind of at the point now where I don't want to like really work too hard to figure it out, because I feel like I'll just enjoy it more that way. But I'm excited. This is the first time we've gotten a show back in this theater since the parks have reopened. I think it is going to be such a nice thing for a full DCA day. And people I know who I feel like have similar taste in me and like what we watch and what we're interested in have said that they love it. I've seen many of my friends who are locals go back for multiple showings. So I'm excited. And I have no doubt that even if I don't personally know much about the story, like Disney does things well. And I don't know. I'm excited. But yeah, I do plan on doing the VIP package. That's my plan, is to do the early entrance, go there first, get it for a friend and I, and then just enjoy one of the viewings.
Well, one of the things they told us, heads up, the very first day was that all people who you're buying VIP passes for had to be present. And so, like, again, I hate virtual queues and other things that make me get up on my vacation at 6:50 in the morning to go do something. This was that same kind of a thing, because you wanted to be there for the park early admission and be able to get in there. It all takes place on the Hollywood backlot, where you go to get your VIP package. But Patrick, I think your face lit up a little bit when we were talking about the photo spot. This is the photo spot, and you can see the cap shield there. They'll let you hold the cap shield. I may or may not have held that cap shield. I'm not going to say either way. But
picture.
Allison, you're up there in the corner, and I don't remember what you said, if you wanted to talk about this or not. But do you have any interest in this whatsoever?
So I didn't initially. I was because I had no idea what it was. Everything Kamila said, I was like, I don't know what this means. Rogers means nothing to me. I've seen, I think, 0 Captain American movies, so I had no idea until like it previewed, and then I could actually watch like a little bit of the show when we had video put up. It looks amazing, like the production values, and it just looks like a really good time. So I actually think I would want to go and see this next time I'm in Disneyland. I had no excitement leading up to it.
Well, and we did a review for July 5th on Deep in the Plus of Captain America: The First Avenger, which this is basically the retelling of that story, and then kind of the continuation of Cap through that. But most of it is the retelling of the First Avenger story in a musical form. And if you don't know, and we've been talking about this for a while, if you don't know, it came out of the Hawkeye TV series on Disney Plus.
Go
and
watch
that's why,
Hawkeye.
Yeah. It was really good.
Just watch Hawkeye. It's so good. It has something.
I've watched so many of these movies.
But it's not a movie. You don't need any other knowledge. All the characters that have connections elsewhere, they're come and tell you about them. Go watch Hawkeye. And if you read comic books, please go read the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye. It's incredible. I hate everyone who got to see this. I have not paid attention to any reviews because I am insanely jealous that I'm not going to get to see this. It's stupid that's a limited run, and I'm mad. Very mad.
Well,
that's
and
my
that
comments on the situation.
That is the thing, though. It ran from June 30th and it runs until August 31st. And there's a guy that I know who has involvement with the program, and we were all sitting around going, why would they make this such a short run? I mean, people clearly were crazy to do this. The lines outside for the virtual queue, which is the other way you can get in, you can do the VIP package, a virtual queue, or standby. If you're standby, you're going to be in the 3rd tier balcony. If you get the virtual queue, which happens twice a day, you're going to be able to be in the 1st or 2nd level. But when you do this, and you get to see it, you're like, well, I love the music. It's really well done. The show was really well produced. It's short. It's 30 minutes because Frozen was like, what, 5 hours? And so then, once you get to see this, you're like, well, why wouldn't they keep it? And this guy said, well, there's a reason. And I was like, what? And he just goes with that cockiness. There's a reason. I'm like, well, is it? Is it that something's coming, or is it that they're taking this and putting it on a cruise, or maybe they're taking it, making it even bigger than it is and taking it to Broadway? I don't know, but he said
this can't play
there's
on
a reason.
Broadway.
I don't
This
disagree
can't
with
play
that.
on Broadway.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But when we were doing the review the other night, Ron and I were doing the review, and he asked me the question, would you go fly out specifically for this? And I honestly might say no. Like, if there's no other reason for you to go out to Disneyland, maybe this isn't the thing. I wanted to see Magic Happens. Because I hadn't seen that yet, and that was amazing. I wanted to see Rogers the Musical, and it just so happened to be a good time that they would all line up together. And I also wanted to see Super Nintendo World, which I did. Anyway, let's move on. One of the things, by the way, since I saw that very first showing of Rogers the Musical on the 30th, there were VIP seats there. And the only person I recognized was Scott Trowbridge, who, if you are familiar, is the Imagineer behind Galaxy's Edge. So he was there, and I was like pointing over. Thank you. I do this on purpose. But he was over there, and I like pointed him out to my family, who was like, oh, let's go ride Monsters, Inc. But anyway, so the reason, as Allison said, that's a perfect transition, is Dan Povenmire, who, by the way, Ben
is in the parks all the time.
Right. Well, I was going to say, Ben and I did a review on Deep in the Plus of Phineas and Ferb Star Wars, and we talked about something about why didn't they have the original voices. And Dan Povenmire posted on ours and told us the reason was that they were all under contract for Force Awakens. And I was like, Dan Povenmire like posted on our story, like he paid attention to like the fact that we did a review of Phineas and Ferb Star Wars. So he is rebooting Phineas and Ferb. There's going to be new episodes, and he took his entire crew to Club 33 and into the parks. And while they were there, the worst of the worst happened. Is the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance went down, and so he decided to call his good friend Scott Trowbridge on the phone and put it on social, and says, it says, the ride's down, Scott.
Ride's
and
down,
then he
Scott.
says, what are you doing about it? We need you to fix it right now. Get on the horn and fix the ride. So I'm just like, that is amazing. I love that he did that. And I wish we all had the ability to make that happen. But Allison, what are your thoughts about all that?
Everything about this is a delight, but my favorite part is if you watch like the TikTok video and you see the reactions of the people in the other like transport vehicle, because they completely understand exactly what's going on, and everyone is having the time of their life ragging on Scott Trowbridge. And it's it's like, it is much better, I think, than it had the ride gone off without a hitch for every single person involved. In both vehicles, even those that had no connection to Scott.
Yeah, I like the comment on one of them where he says, is this what you do all day? You just sit around and ride rides.
Josh, it's Patrick. Everything's going poorly at Magic Kingdom. Is there something you can do? Josh, don't hang up. No, Josh.
Oh, no. Don't make me jealous like that. I don't even want you to pretend like you're talking to my boy without me. That's horrible. I don't know what's going on there. Kamila, any thoughts on this one? Is that the kind of pull you have?
I mean, I wish. No, but truly, like, that is how you deal with being stuck on a ride, is you just call up the Imagineer you have saved in your phone and, let them know and give them the feedback politely. No, but I will say, as someone who has gotten stuck on this ride waiting for it when it went down, you'd much rather be at that point in the ride, where you're like able to take it all in versus in line. So they got very lucky, but no, more people need to deal with this instead of like getting out of their ride vehicles and other things. This is how to do it.
Yeah, I love this comment right here where Scott says, keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle. Like he was having so much fun with it. And then this part right here where Dan says, if Scott had done his job just a little better, we would not be in this predicament. I mean, facts maybe. I don't know. I just rode Rise of the Resistance, and the cannons don't work, and that makes me sad. And that they probably never will again. They are the Yeti of Rise of the Resistance. These huge things, and the timing is set, and they're sitting there, and they look like they should, but they've just been turned off, and they won't do anything. So kind of a bummer that's not going to be working. But speaking of things not working. Man, that sounds like a great transition too, doesn't it, Allison? We saw that the other day or I guess it was today that all these rides were closed early, they temporarily closed in the Magic Kingdom. And they acknowledged some of them that were closed, but as you can see, some of them had times on them and some of them were shut down there. So Peter Pan's Flight, things that didn't seem like they should actually be tied to each other, were all down. And there was a similar story that we had about that the My Disney Experience was malfunctioning and the attraction wait times were incorrect or missing. I was at EPCOT and the same thing happened, that in the morning, got there, everything was showing as just the star and wasn't showing any wait times. And it was like, why everything? Like Spaceship Earth was standing right in front of it. It was closed. I don't know, Patrick, do you think they're doing something like to upgrade the systems that's causing this problem? Because it seems like it's not just MDX, but I mean, is it? No, that would cost money.
Upgrade is the wrong word.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw this as one of the first things. I'm going to show how much of a big nerd I am. I literally check our news site through our Discord as soon as I wake up every morning. I'm like, what is even happening right now? It feels weird, when we had that huge bout of refurbishments in Disneyland. You're like, oh, well, they're all kind of in the same building, so it makes sense they're working on all of them at once. These are all over the park. It made me think it had to be something electronic. It had to be some sort of computer glitch. MDX, I got nothing. Like, they should have, people who live here doing their IT instead of outsourcing it, so that way we don't have to worry about these giant MDX issues that we have.
What? There are issues with MDX? That doesn't sound right. Allison?
No, it's a perfect system.
Yeah, no, it's trash. It's trash software, and it never works correctly. I mean, like I think the more notable thing is like every single one of these rides going down. But if like you ever see how like these systems work and these like the computers that like took up a whole room in the 70s, like that's how so many of these rides are operated. So it's like kind of surprising that so many don't go down all at the same time more frequently. But MDX messing up wait times is just like, that's Tuesday. It's like happens all the time.
Yeah. Kamila, any thoughts before we move on?
It's just so tough when this happens because I feel like you go into the parks, you have your little strategy, and then, one ride goes down, okay, you like pick something else. But then when it's multiple rides and usually it's, all of the other things that you were going to do instead, it's just so hard. And people like lines start forming in weird places and it's just stressful. So I don't know. I hope they found some way to make it right in the end.
There are too many infrastructure problems when it comes to the electronics and the apps and things like that, because the just Disneyland app being different from Disney World's app to me is stupid. There should be one app that you choose either path and don't have to have both. And then the fact that like they've introduced Magic Bands at Disneyland, but when you go to use your Magic Band, you can use it to tap into the park and you can tap into a lightning lane, but you can't use it to charge and you can't use it to get into the hotel rooms. You can't get into the hotel rooms with it. The locks are already set up and you only have 3 hotels. What is the problem?
Let me get
Josh on the phone.
Again.
Yeah, get him on there. Yeah, if you can, that'd be great. You can wait till commercial, that's fine. But I definitely look at the infrastructure in general, and we'll talk about the Oogie Boogie debacle. Oogie Boogie Gate, can we call it that? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But just in general, all of the infrastructure seems like you're a huge multi-billion-dollar company. Shouldn't you be able to get your act together with like this and use the word outsource? Yeah, do that. Do that. Go and invest in somebody else that might be able to make this work for you.
Why can't I make DVC reservations on the app? Why do I have to go into a different app to make purchases? Mm-hmm. Why do I have so many Disney apps and then need to use my web browser to do DVC stuff?
Why do I have to lean so hard into my Disney app the entire day that my battery is dead by 3 p.m.?
I used to just throw my phone in the safe and leave it when I was on vacation. I prefer
Oh, you can't do that anymore. You can't. Sorry.
No, I need it. Yeah.
No, you can't. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel like that they need to fix, and hopefully somebody's behind the scenes getting that done. I go back and forth on this particular topic because sometimes I call it came from the parks when there's weird things like people stepping out of Guardians of the Galaxy or, sneaking little kids into the park without having to pay for them. But this week it leans more like a rap sheet, honestly, because it was three very disturbing stories. One of them is Patrick as our professional wrestler. There was another fight that broke out at in Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom, and so
amazing.
right. I do want when we get into this, I do want to have a conversation about that one in particular if no one else wants to talk about it. But just like we've done in the past, we have three stories. I'm going to let each of you have your say on each story. Or if Allison, if you need to talk about all three, you talk about all three. You just do you whatever makes you happy. But let me talk
about two of these three.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the fact. The first one is a heck of a headline, by the way. Foreign guest leaves child unattended in stroller, then reportedly spits on Disney cast member who moved child into safe spot. That's almost the entire story in one headline. The next one is man arrested for groping 21-year-old cast member at the Magic Kingdom. And then the last one is the one we talked about before. The fight breaks out in Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom, and I believe that one was as early as today. So the first thing we'll do is we'll cut to Allison on this one, and we'll get Allison's legal perspective on what she has to say on these topics.
I can't believe you found it. I thought it was gone. Funny story. That picture was taken when I was 9 months pregnant, so my face may look a little different. Yeah, thanks for bringing it back up. Great. So anyway, I'm going to talk about like two of these stories because, obviously they're all terrible, and we can talk about how like people's behavior is out of control and all these things are popping up in parks and tempers are high and people behaving badly. But the thing that jumps out at me with two of them is really bad lawyering. So in both the spitting one and the groping story, you have incidents where the lawyer responds and starts to like make up some like potential excuses. So in the groping story, the lawyer is like, oh, he was with his girlfriend the whole time. He was in the park. He was never alone. He wasn't even near this person. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what are you doing? There are cameras everywhere. And you don't know if like what your client is telling you is the exact truth. But what you should know is that like camera angles can make things look good. So you don't want to put out your story before you get to trial, because all of those statements can then be used against your client in the case against him. And the same thing, whether it gets to trial or not, most will not get to trial, but like in negotiations too, if you start saying things like, oh, at no point was he even ever near this person, and then there's video footage where he was indeed very much near this person and his girlfriend was in Frontierland at the time, like now you've like admitted to your client being a liar. So same thing happening with the Animal Kingdom story, because the lawyer again is like, oh, well, he was just talking to her and at no point did he spit, and except maybe as he was talking. Again, cameras everywhere. Don't do this. What are they doing? They're ruining their clients' cases. But anyway, sorry, that was a rant.
No, that wasn't a rant. That was Allison's legal perspective, and we appreciate you for throwing that out there. Patrick, you're not going to be able to top it. I should have ended with her. I'm sorry. I should have ended with her, and I didn't. Yeah. And now, Patrick, you're stuck. I mean, there's one that hasn't been mentioned. You can go to that one if you want to. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely the one I want to tackle, Rob.
Well, talk about whatever you want, buddy.
Let's be really clear. When there's these terrible incidents at the Disney park, people want to point the finger at Disney. It's not Disney. People are garbage everywhere. Just because a pedophile happens to work at Disney does not mean that everyone there is a pedophile. It's probably the exact same amount of pedophiles that are in your very own workplace. People are everywhere. They're disgusting, and it's terrible, and we need to really focus on the mental health of it all. Don't touch other people. Like, just stop. Don't touch anyone. If you don't have expressed, possibly written consent, Don't touch someone. Also, if you're gonna fight, man, make sure when you're on camera, you don't look like you've never thrown a punch before in your life.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about from your professional
Oh, okay.
wrestling standpoint.
Sure. Yeah.
Was this real, or was this a we want to be on TikTok? Because part of it didn't look.
Because if you've ever noticed people who try and do professional wrestling on TikTok, it doesn't look good. So like if you see like Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in the ring, those are professionals who know what they're doing and are gonna make it look snug and close and make sure things look good. When people don't know how to fight, it doesn't look choreographed. It looks like somebody's cocking a fist back here, which by the way, if you hit somebody with this, you're going to injure yourself. Don't ever punch anybody. You're going to hurt yourself. Like, dude, your arm is way too back. You have no weight on that. You got to shift your weight to your other foot. Like, it's terrible, man. If you don't touch other people, period. Just don't touch people. I even worry about, like, there's people I love, and I'm just like, I don't know if this sucks.
On the Star Cruiser, as part of the the indoctrination speech they give you before you get on, they say, do not touch the characters or the crew or other guests without their consent. And I'm thinking, you're paying that much money and you need somebody to tell you not to touch people? But I mean, you're right. Like apparently you need to remind people, don't do that. All right. So Kamila, do you want to choose one of these?
So I will say what's fascinating to me about the fight is where it took place. Because like when I think of all of the places where like crowds get really tight in Magic Kingdom, I don't really think of Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland can get busy, but it still kind of feels like there's areas to spread out. You can avoid people. And I think it said like this happened like near Cosmic Rays. So it does start to thin a little bit over there. But I mean, I just get so exhausted by all of these stories because they happen so often now. And it's just, I don't know, like we're trying to create a fun environment for everyone, but also, and we know there are a lot of kids there. And so it's just kind of like, I don't understand why people cannot be on better behavior, at least here. And I know, there are a lot of factors working against you when people are at Disney. It's hot, you're tired, you spend a lot of money, maybe you're stressed about that, whatever it is, but you can never do this. And people just in general really need to do a much better job of controlling themselves everywhere in public, especially in movie theaters, because movie theaters is another place where people are acting on their worst behavior, and I'm just shocked by it. But just, don't do this. Ever.
Just don't. I know that Kamila, you always try to be positive, and you were attributing a lot of the fighting to alcohol at EPCOT, and yet none of these things seem to happen at EPCOT.
Yeah.
They all seem to happen at other places. So yeah, I appreciate you trying to be positive about this, but people be better. That's what we have to say. We try to cover a lot of different topics on ParksCenter. There are a ton of topics that hit WDWNT.com. We comb through hundreds of stories every week to make sure to bring you the most important stories of the week. This, unfortunately, is not one of those. But this is Patrick's Munchling Corner, because Patrick, there have been some Munchling sightings, my friend.
Oh my God, they're so good.
Yeah, these classic couplings. So and then we also have the new Chubby Munchling. What? Now I will tell you though, dude. I will give you this. The Chubby one. Oh my gosh. By the way, Allison and Kamila have already opted out of this conversation. This is just gonna be Patrick. But I will tell you. Let's go. This Chubby though, man. This is the first one I've actually looked at and said, okay, that's all right. That's kind of cute. I like that one.
So the important thing is like with the I don't want to knock everything over. But with the display boxes, like my Orange Bird and my Figment look way better than the other ones that are out of the boxes. I love the couplings. I think it's great. Rob texted me, was it this morning or was it yesterday, about the Munchling bowls?
Oh, it was yesterday.
And man, I love all the Munchling merchandise, but if you're going to make something like that I'm going to put ice cream in, can you please make it dishwasher safe? Because I would 100% order those bowls right now. I think it's great. Munchlings are so popular. I actually saw somebody in my hometown here in Connecticut with a Munchling backpack on. I was stoked. Can you shoot me over to the mini one more time, like the image of the 3 new ones for the couplings, real quick? Because I'm curious. Just, hit me up there. All right. So Marie looks like she's a latte, right? Or a sundae?
If you say so. You're the Munchling expert, man. You tell me.
Baymax seems to be a juice box.
I was thinking milk. Is it juice?
Milk?
Because it's got the strawberry on it.
Oh, strawberry milk. That makes sense. All right, what are we dealing with here with Minnie? Because it looks like a baked potato, but also she has egg ears. Do people eat eggs with baked potatoes? I don't like that one. I'm gonna put it out there. I really don't like that one.
Well, whoa! This is breaking news, everyone. Patrick doesn't like a Munchling, and he saw the Fig Bar, and he still wanted that one.
Dude,
so
you better settle down. The Figment Fig Bar is adorable. It is absolutely adorable. By the way, Rob, that other text I sent you, I did end up buying the Disney 100 Sums. Yeah, I have a problem.
No, yeah. But, Patrick texted me a picture from Target or somewhere with the little bags of the Tsum Tsums, and he went, "Uh-oh."
The ones I love the most are still not getting enough love. The Chip and Dale as pita pockets with like tahini and hot sauce, they're just the cutest, and I love them so much. I'm so excited because people seem to really like Munchlings, and it means that I'm going to still have Munchlings to get when I go to the parks. That's what's exciting. So like January 24, I need top level Munchlings, Josh. Top level Munchlings. Your best Munchlings.
Did you ever see the bit that he did for D23? There was a video where Josh D'Amaro went in to the D23 shop and just shoved a bunch of Munchlings in a bag because he was going to take them all. Is that why you love Josh so much? Because he loves Munchlings, or do you love Munchlings because
he's handsome and I hope he's going to save the day.
Yeah, hopefully. Maybe we'll get there. By the way, thank you.
The chat has informed me that it is a mini ramen Munchling, and now I want it 3 times.
By the way, Allison's eyes rolled so far in the back in her head they were in Kamali Square. It was awkward. So anyway, let's talk about this. This is something that I've never done. And I remember that they used to do this. You would check into a hotel, probably more likely a deluxe, and there would be a piece of paper on the desk that said, "Oh, hey, we love having you here. You love being here. Wouldn't you like to come back again real soon? Book your trip now." I mean, you know, that seems like, I mean, when you go to the aisle to check out and they have chocolate bars in the aisle at a grocery store, that's called an impulse item because you see it and you go, "Oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and throw a Reese's in here or something." Kamila, do people actually go, "Oh, you know what? I just spent $5,000 on a vacation. Let me hit that again. Let me hit that machine one more time."
You actually see this a lot in cruises. So cruises have always had the placeholder offer, and they didn't stop those. And I feel like half the guests that I work with that go on a cruise will actually book their next one before they leave, or at least take advantage of the placeholder offer. So I feel like this is a good idea. And I feel like Disney World is absolutely dealing with softer sales as we go into the second half of 2023. And I think, you know, just what they've seen so far initially for 2024. So they're bringing this back along with some of the other promotional items we've seen recently for a reason. And I think what's really nice about this offer is you can get what feels like pretty good savings, usually somewhere between maybe 25% and 35% off. And they're doing something that they didn't do previously, which is you actually have 7 days to take advantage of this. So when you go to check out, they're going to send you an email. That email is going to have instructions for an offer, and they give you 7 days to do it. Whereas I feel like before, you know, like you had to make a decision pretty quickly before you left if you wanted to do the bounce back offer. So I think this is exciting, and I think it just speaks to slowing sales.
That it just hits me as such a, like, you know, a sleazy sales guy thing to do. Like, if you don't get this deal today, if you walk out that door, you're not going to get this deal. You better get this now. Like, it feels kind of icky to me, but maybe it's a good thing for people. But here's the deal: is that you can get 35% on deluxe and 30% on moderate, and up to, I guess, is the secret key, 25% on the value rooms. But also, I feel like a lot of that value, a lot of that pricing also matches what we get with AP or sometimes with other deals that are out there. Allison, I see you shaking your head a lot about this one. Do you have thoughts?
Oh, guys, it's happening. Like Disney is finally like figuring out like discounts that actually are pretty good. I think this is like, yes, I understand why it feels sleazy, but at the same time, all of these things are cancelable. So up until like, whatever, 24 hours before, 48 hours before, Kamala, you'll know but like if you're someone who goes regularly, like there's no reason not to lock that down, because that is the same as what you see usually for seasonal discounts. And so usually when I book at full price, and then like person like Kamila will get me a discount for when that comes out. So they're constantly monitoring, and then it cuts the price down 25 or 35%. But this is like sort of locks that in, and you don't have to necessarily wait for that or gamble with that. But if you decide you're not going to go, you can still just cancel your trip. So I love it, but I don't know that it's going to pay off as much for Disney, because I don't think this is going to incentivize people who weren't already planning on coming back very soon. So great for us, great for the real fans, and a real sign that Disney is like offering some real incentives to get people in the door. It's
Nice, Patrick.
I'm excited because I'm hopeful that this leads to more of the things that we used to enjoy for free. Because I think attendance is down. We've seen people saying that the parks don't feel as crowded as they used to. So attendance is down. Let's make people come. Before I was a DVC member, I loved a bounce back offer. It would give me enough time to plan out that next trip. And if you're using someone like Kamila or one of the other great sponsors that we have, you could pay it little by little and little by little, and you're basically putting vacation on layaway. And by the time you get there, especially if you get one of those fantastic meal plans, you're not spending a ton of money out of pocket, and you're just enjoying your vacation. I'm hopeful that this leads to some of the demonetization of the parks. However, I'm not an idiot, and I know that it probably won't.
Yeah, there are a lot of things we'd like to see go away, reservations, etc., and come back with things like the 90-day window for dining that was there before?
No, it was 6 months, man.
Oh, 6 months. 180.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was just talking to Jake about too was, and Patrick, I know you're in the same boat, Tables in Wonderland. Like Tables in Wonderland was such a wonderful
It's not
thing.
coming back, man. It's not coming back. They've wrapped it into the AP and DVC, and you get discounts at almost everywhere, but that's never coming back.
Okay.
I wish Park Fair would come back. I had no idea. I'm bummed. I was actually planning on it for my trip in January.
You already had your reservation in your head. You already had your reservation.
Oh, I did. I had hedgeravation. And I got nothing.
No, you can stop on that one. That's fine.
All right.
So let's move on then to your boy Josh Tomorrow. Actually, no. Beforehand, we'll talk about the old stuff. This was interesting. I went to guest services in the park, and I was like, I missed AP month. Is there any chance that I could get the Figment magnet? And they were like, no. And so I was like, yeah,
just hit you with
exactly.
that Stone Cold Steve Austin double birds.
They did. They were like, nah, we're good. But thanks for being an AP. But then we ran this story just before that about the fact that some of these magnets are coming back for a limited time. And I think that they're going to be at Animal Kingdom. Yes, they're going to be at the Mist Magnet Distribution at Disney Animal Kingdom. And I think these are the only ones. So I don't know that you're going to be able to get the Figment ones. But they are holding these at quite a high value that they're going to ask you to come back. And I think it's only like a week that they're asking for, starting July 17th, I believe. And then also you can get the Spike the Bee Sipper for annual pass holders. So basically, this looks like a big old clearance sale is what they're having, because it's like, hey, here's a sipper that we still have a couple boxes of. If y'all want them, we're going to offer them to you first, and then these magnets. So I'm going to start with Allison, because I feel like you're a newly returned AP, right?
I am, but as you know, I have no interest in this. What am I going to do with this? I'm not going to waste time waiting online to get these. I have nowhere to put these. This is definitely not my thing. They're cute to look at, but I don't need to have them in my house or on my car.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Patrick, you like stuff.
I like stuff. I went and chatted online with some of the wonderful cast members who helped through the My Disney Experience app. And I said, hey, I was an idiot and I went through the car wash and I forgot to ask them to take off my AP magnet. And my AP magnet is gone. And my 4-year-old would really like one. Is there anything you do? No, but you can come to the parks and get your Figment magnet. I'm like, no, I can't. Send this to me. I just need one. Just any of them. My daughter's really mad that they didn't take off the magnet before it went through the car wash. Also, how many Spike the Bee tumblers do they have?
Just one. Just one. They have the spork, and then the. Oh, you mean how many do they have left?
Yeah,
there's only one
it's
version of it.
How many years ago was that? Was that just last year?
I feel like it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Everything just runs together.
I know, it's crazy. Well, there was this thing called COVID, and it messed everything up forever. So we're our brains are dead. But yeah, I again, I keep referencing Jake because we just hung out. But we were talking about those Lego figures, the 100-year Lego figures, and he ordered something from.
Gone.
Well, he ordered one from eBay, and it was the sorcerer, but it didn't come with the broom. And he said that Lego has a website where you can go and indicate a missing piece, and they'll send it to you for free. Lego.
I just did that with my baby soda. Baby Yoda. My daughter calls him baby soda.
And you only pay like $4.99 for those figures. We're paying how much for an annual pass, and they can't. You're telling me they have no magnets left that they could just ship off one to you when you want one. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, let's bring back customer service a little bit. That should be an easy thing for them to do.
I'll get Josh.
Yeah, just get Josh. I mean, did you talk to him the last commercial break? We got another one coming up. It's fine.
All right.
So let's talk about the Maelstrom, because this was an interesting thing. Again, just rode the Maelstrom, rode Frozen, not the Maelstrom, but rode Frozen, and I was thinking to myself, like, I know a lot of fanboys are like, Frozen took over where the Maelstrom was, and I may get a lot of hate for this, but I prefer Frozen because the Maelstrom to me was not all that it should have been. And so I do love the idea of there being something that is an actual Norway exhibit. And we found this, or we got a hold of, I guess, this artwork from something that was planned before Frozen to have this sort of like troll land, like the magical world of trolls. So I love that they changed the line that you are not the first to pass this way, and instead of nor shall you be the last, it was long ago trolls ruled this land. So it's like, this looks very Mark Davis-y to me, the idea of some of these gags that they have. That this Imagineer put together. And so I was like, you know what? If they had done that instead of Frozen, I'd been good with that. But it's the animatronics and the story and all those things that they've added to it that make it so good that I feel like the Maelstrom was just kind of okay. I, again, would have loved for them to have done something that was, Norway and not from a made-up version of Norway. But Allison, I don't know which side of the fence you're on. Honestly, I can't wait to hear.
I mean, I love Maelstrom. I love the Frozen ride too, and I I think what's cool about this is that you've got like more cartoony, more fun, less scary troll depictions, and you imagine that they would have been like peppered throughout the ride, so it wouldn't have just been like the one scene and like the troll in the rocks. So I love the Mark Davis like channeling and the artwork. It sort of reminds me, like looking through it, of the like "I Have a Dream" song from Tangled. Like I could totally see any of those being put as characters in that particular sequence, which is a lot of fun. I think like it would have been maybe less scary and more accessible for younger kids. I know I was afraid of Maelstrom when I was 4 years old. So I'm sure my daughter would be too, but she's also afraid of Frozen. So it doesn't really matter. She's fearful regardless. But yeah, no, I love this. This is really cool. And it sort of makes me miss what could have been and also miss what was.
Yeah, I got that. Patrick?
All All right, so I have two very differing trains of thought on this. Number one, Trolls would have been great until the Trolls movie came out, and then people would be wondering why Trolls from the Trolls movie weren't in Norway. My second line of thought is that with Frozen already, it is time for us to just give up on what we're looking at with EPCOT and embrace it. Just embrace full IP. There's no reason that should be Norway. That's Arendelle. There's no reason Morocco was there. That should be Agrabah. Like, it's not what the park was meant to be. Let's just switch it up. Could you imagine, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, but like a fictional country food festival versus the same tired food trotted out over and over again, which we'll talk about more a little bit later
on. That's a good point. But again, yeah, I'm on the fence too, buddy. Like, I feel like I love Frozen, and that IP is something that little kids want. I have to step out of the shoes sometimes and go, look, I'm a hardcore Disney fanboy from back in the day. I worked at EPCOT. Let me step back and go, what would, my little nephew like? What would, kids or people who aren't as tied to the parks as we are like? And that actually came up with the whole Country Bear thing, because I said to my sister-in-law, I was like, oh, the Country Bears are going away, and she's like, well, what are they going to put there? And I said, we heard a Toy Story marionette show. She's like, oh, I love Toy Story. I'm like, you're part of the problem. Like, there are some classics that should not be touched, and I strongly agree to that. But this one with Maelstrom, I think I was loved mostly that it was a ride at Epcot. That was mostly what I liked about it, because back in the day before there was Test Track and Soarin' and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, there really wasn't much in the way of rides, and this was touted in this article as the first real thrill ride in Epcot, and that may be what I loved about it so much. But like, thinking of the Frozen scene where Elsa sends you backwards, and then the cold doesn't bother me anyway, and the smoke comes, it's just like, it's just perfect, versus the bear just standing there. Like, I mean, I'll take this every day of the week. So I wish that we could see what some of these other things looked like. But speaking of things that are changing, Tiana. So there are a lot of different changes going on with Tiana. One of the things that happened in the past couple weeks, which we missed when it came through, was that they're putting together the water tower, and now we had seen somebody, I think it was on a truck somewhere, and the water tower at the one in the Magic Kingdom is now up. And so this is starting now to feel like Tiana's ride a little bit more. I mean, you've got the scaffolding up, and we have the scaffolding up at both parks, but now we're seeing this piece that we knew was coming. You've got the whole cast, giving a shout out here. There are a lot of different things that were happening with Tiana's Palace. They've started taking some of the scaffolding away at Disneyland. Kamila, are you excited to see this moving forward, or are you sick of us talking about it and let's just figure out when it's opening?
I mean, I will say, like, just knowing what we just went through with Tron, the every week updates, it's a struggle for me. But no, I'm excited for this ride. I'm not someone who rode Splash very much, mostly just because I don't like water rides that much. But Tiana, like, I'm excited for, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do. One thing that's interesting is, like, I love how Disney just loves a good water tower, because you've got like the Disney Springs one, you've got this one, and then there's a third one that I'm forgetting, but
Eiffel Tower.
House of Blues has one. House of Blues has one.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And
but
she was saying the Earful Tower that used to be at Hollywood Studios.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's just kind of funny that, like, this feels like something they figured out how to do, so they like keep putting it everywhere, which I don't know why. It's funny to me. But no, I'm excited. I'm interested to see this done. I will say this might be the first time that I actually try to go be there for an opening ride. So wow. We'll see. And I will say, I thought it was cool to see like some of the updates they gave us during Essence Fest, which just wrapped up, I guess maybe a little while ago now, but like with some of the music artists that they have working on original music for this. Like, I don't know, I'm excited to see it all come together for sure.
And Tiana's Palace, so the French Quarter the French Market is now becoming Tiana's Palace. Is that something that you're excited to see happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm excited for all of it. I never went to really that area very much before anyway. I want to say I went one time to buy like one of those etched mugs that they can like make custom for you back there, but it's not, I'd never spent much time except to get beignets. So I feel like I'm interested to like see how they bring that area to life and refresh it.
Yeah, they're going to have man-catching beignets. That'll be exciting. Patrick, this outfit right here, the new Tiana look, I feel like that's something that you could rock. What do you think?
I feel like she's headed out on the Jungle Cruise with that. It's really pretty outfit, though. It's a really pretty outfit. I thought you were going to come to me with the smoking guy. Come on, that's poor quality control having that dude out there. So what, he's smoking while he's putting the ride together, but you can't show that. Like, you have to be better than that, Disney. Again, you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Like, come on. That's a really cool outfit. I hope that's what the cast members are wearing or something similar when their attraction opens. But we talked about beignets, and I need to say something that's very important to me. If I cannot buy a beignet at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, I don't want it. If there's not a beignet stand there, what are you even doing? I want a beignet, and I want it as soon as I get on or off the ride, possibly both.
Wow, those are big words.
And gumbo too. I love gumbo. Gumbo's delicious. Fried okra.
Well, and we know we're going to have it at Disneyland. Disneyland, it's going to be there. But at Disney World, where are you going to put that?
I think figure it
I
out.
don't know.
I mean, you could shut down you could shut down the Briar Patch, which has been shut down since COVID.
Yeah.
You could take that Briar Patch area and maybe open it up for beignets. But yeah, I agree with you. They should be somewhere, because I feel like when you're at Disney World, the only place you can really get beignets is if you head on over to the French Quarter, and that's not close. So I miss the idea of having beignets at your fingertips, especially they've got that window now at Ralph Brenneman's, right, and Disneyland, the beignet window there too. So good stuff. Yeah. Let's talk about, again, because I know Allison loves stuff. Let's talk about plastic stuff. So here's the thing. If I can share a little bit. So they've made the announcement that they're going to have this droid at Disney's Hollywood Studios that they used for, I think it was a May the 4th situation out in Disneyland. So that's coming. That is there now. And then they're going to take this Perfect Picnic popcorn bucket, which was specifically made for the Perfect Picnic, and then paint the red blue and then put a sticker on the top that instead says Food and Wine Festival 2023, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. I'm not a huge fan, and part of this is okay. So of the recycling of these things, so part of it is like it should be an original thing. The Perfect Picnic. I don't know. I mean, obviously they did it because it was a cheap way to get a popcorn bucket for the Food and Wine Festival. If this is the only one for Food and Wine, that's going to be a little bit disappointing. But if I go out of my way to ask Allie in Disneyland to buy me this popcorn bucket out there, I want that to be the only place that you can get it, because now you've made it like everywhere. Now I know they sell this one at Hollywood Studios, but then to repurpose it seems a little bit weird. And then also I was so excited to have her get me this droid, and I was like, haha, I've got one. Oh, everybody gets one. Oh, I'm sorry. Like the popcorn bucket being limited edition is kind of part of the fun of it. I can see you're nodding your head, Patrick. You disagree.
Rob, you have a problem. And like, I know, looking back here, I'm not exactly one to talk, but I can't believe that you have an issue with them reusing. How many different versions of the balloon bucket do you have, Rob?
I don't have a problem. You have a problem. That's
yeah.
No,
that's
I do have a problem.
Bucket, Rob. It's just a bucket. Like, it's not.
But it says Rogers on it.
It does.
Yeah.
But we need to work on this. Look how mad Allison is at you. It's amazing.
I know it is. She just gets so
amazing that your addiction to plastic goods is ruining the planet our children are going to eventually inherit. Your kids are older. You know, it's not fair, Rob. You need to start thinking about the younger generation. That's really cool. I like that a lot, and I'm sad now that I don't have it.
That one's pretty cute.
I also have a problem.
Yeah. No, I mean, and again, we had this conversation, I think maybe even with Jungle Cruiser. I forget who it was that was like, hey, should we get the, the Mr. Toad bucket and Disneyland because it's got a different colored lanyard than the one that that was originally released at Disney World. And it's like, well, of course you should. You should absolutely do that. But I don't know. I like the unique designs. I like the Mr. Toad car was amazing because it feels like more than a popcorn bucket. I do limit myself to just the Disney ones, which I know Allison's going. That's not self-control. Sorry, but like I went to Super Nintendo World and I was like, oh, these sippers and popcorn buckets are not for me. They're for somebody else because I'm just going to do the Disney ones. So, yeah, I don't know.
Have you seen the movie theater ones too now?
Yes. Oh my gosh. The one that really
Do you have
got me was
Optimus
the
Prime?
I don't have again, just Disney, buddy. Just Disney.
Okay.
I honestly I probably would not have bought this one if it wasn't part of the VIP thing. But I'm certainly going to keep it now. But the Optimus Prime was great. But the other one that was really cool was the Ghostbusters, the Ecto one that they had. That one was fantastic. I mean, it was so intricate with the lights and everything else. And it's just like, how dare you even dream of putting popcorn in this thing? Don't even do it. But again, I've said this a million times. If I saw sippers when I was at Disney World on the bottom shelf of one of the shops, and they weren't ones that you would normally buy. They're just, for the shops. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want those. But if you took them and said they were exclusive and you put them behind the counter at one of the popcorn stands, it's a mind game. It's all a mind game. I'm fully aware of it, and I will not be entering a 12-step program for this but I'll just try to do better, Patrick, if that helps. Can we do that? Okay. Anyway, let's talk about the Oogie Boogie tickets because what a fiasco. So the way that this originally worked was they were going to let Magic Key holders buy them first. And I've said this a million times, and I think, Kamila, you would agree with me because you've been there, is this is one of the best hard-ticketed events I've ever seen. Now, we'll see what happens with Jollywood Nights. Maybe that'll be a great one. It'd be nice to have something on the East Coast that was this cool. But, we talked about the character meet and greets or the characters on the treat trails. Villains Grove is absolutely amazing. Like, I want to see more of these things coming. But the tickets went on sale to Magic Key holders. And I actually had one of the folks who works down in the studio who asked me to buy him tickets, and I did. And I was very tempted to buy some for myself. And I was like, I've done a little bit too much Disney. Let me hold back a little bit on this one. And then then when they went on sale to everybody else, like 2 days later, it broke everything. There were 3-hour waits, and then Disney was like, okay, window closed. We give up. We're not going to do this anymore. Patrick, why can't they? This is back to the MDX. Why can't they get their act together on this stuff?
I actually was sitting there to make sure no one got Oogie Boogie tickets because I think it's ridiculous.
If you can't go, nobody goes.
Yeah, exactly. I've just become spiteful now. I opened up 100 browser windows, and it was just me. I brought it down all on my own. Take that. Now, I have no idea. I don't know what is going on. You are the biggest company in the world. Do better. That's it, Rob. I got nothing else.
That's all you got? Kamila, talk to me, because, I mean, why? Like, I feel like that Oogie Boogie causes the most problems, and, of course, it'll be one of the first one to sell out.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I'm trying to remember last year. I can't remember if it sold out in it must have been like 2 days, I think, last year, which was the fastest ever. And then I will say I was sitting in the queue waiting to get tickets. And it was one of those things where I was like, if I get lucky and I actually get tickets, I'll just get some and I'll go to it this year. But I was fully expecting like, oh, I'm not even going to get there. And it was the craziest thing because you could like see the queue open up. And like I was in a group chat with a bunch of people and people were starting to talk about like, oh, I'm in. But like the rest of us were still waiting. And all this time was going by. And you could see like at the bottom where they would say like, refreshed as of this time. And then this little like notice pops up and it's like everything has been paused, and it just stayed like that for the rest of the day. And then all of a sudden you get this notice that they're closing it off, and not only are they not going to reopen the queue like tomorrow or the next day, instead it's like it's not going to be until a future date. So they didn't even know when they were going to be able to reopen this at first. And then we finally got that it was July, I think it's 11th, which was so long from like when we first all tried to get tickets for this. And it's just like, what is going on? And so now I feel like it's going to be even harder because now more people have been like, oh, well, let me see if I can get in and get tickets. And this is already a very popular event. It's a very hard to score event, even though I feel like they have an adequate number of nights. And so it just kind of like adds more stress to the situation. And I will say, for anyone who gets to go, I think you'll have a great time. I think it's worth it. But I just hate how hard this particular event is to get. And it's interesting because other special event or hard ticketed events we've seen, especially in Disney World, no problem. You want to get Jollywood Nights tickets, you can go. You want to go to, Mickey's Not So Scary, the Christmas party, no problem. But this one event is just impossible, and it's only getting harder.
Yeah, and I freaked out about Jollywood because I was like, will Jollywood be the same thing as Oogie Boogie? And I hope it's amazing because it looks amazing. And so I was like, I booked a hotel so that I could get the tickets before they went on sale because I was going to have a hotel anyway. So, PopCenter gets my money once again. But I really am just like, I get freaked out about these things. The same thing about the popcorn buckets and limited availability and things like that with anything that's Disney. It just goes so quickly sometimes, and they just need to either not have these special offerings or understand that they need to have a great number of them to be able to open up whatever it is. Because, again, they've been doing this thing for years. They've got all this data they're collecting on us. They know how many APs they've got. They know how many people buy the last thing. They have all this data, and they use the reservation system because they feel like they know more about us and our habits, and they use MDX to track us. Shouldn't they know already what the heck they're doing when it comes to releases of tickets, merch, things like that? It feels like they just don't over and over and over again. And I love the company, and we've had people say in the past WDWNT just hates Disney. That's not the case. We love Disney, or we wouldn't be so passionate about it. But again, we've gone over on this one, but I want to see them. I don't want to be in a panic all the time for the next Disney thing to be able to get it, whether it's the VIP package for Rogers, Oogie Boogie tickets, or anything else. So I'm going to leave that with that. We maybe talk about that more in the post show, and then just jump right into Food and Wine since we're already going over so much here. Food and Wine Festival is coming on at the end of this month, and there is a lot of stuff that they leaked to us. We see there was a lot of preparation happening. The refreshment port is actually closed. I hope they're planning on doing something special to it. The Appleseed Orchard that they've closed Canada Far and Wide for, they're not closing Canada Far and Wide this time, and that's always been a neat offering. Not that I love to see an attraction go down, but then they've also gotten rid of a lot of the Flower and Garden.
Bad show right there.
You think so?
That's bad show. Yes.
Well, and that's a great point, because this particular festival has a 3-week window between when the last one ended and when the next one begins. And so they've got what looks like burnt grass here, and you somehow think that's bad show? That doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't think that's bad show. That is something that should not happen. We are clearly breaking one of the keys. That's terrible show. And also, why are we talking about Food and Wine? It's July 9th. Doesn't that start it starts tomorrow?
No.
It's just, I know. It starts soon, though. I was being facetious, Rob.
Sorry.
Why are they ripping stuff out that quickly without having, nice grass to put there? I'm very angry for this section. I have a lot of things to say.
Okay. Well, and we'll hear a lot of things. Yeah, we'll hear a lot of things.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about what we've seen so far as the food booths go, because there's one thing in particular that I was desperately wanting to talk about, which I'm excited about. I don't know if you guys are. A Muppets booth. They're having a Brew Wing Lab taste testing. This seems like a no-brainer. Why haven't we seen this before? Allison, you're smiling. Are you a huge Muppets fan? Is this do you look at this and go, this is really smart, or you're why are they doing that?
It's a really good use of Muppets. I think that they're underutilized in the parks generally, and anytime they come up with a really clever way that fits with their characters and to use them, I love it. Like the Muppets in Liberty Square. I was a little nervous about it, but amazing execution. That should come back. And otherwise, we don't see enough of them. This is really clever. This is adorable. I can see a lot of people really, really getting into this. Yeah, I love it.
Kamila, thoughts?
So for me, yeah, so I think the Muppets thing is really exciting. A lot of people love them. And I just want to say that I think this is a good example of Disney recognizing a lot of people have consistently said they want more Muppets, they like the Muppets, and this is them giving you Muppets. So it's a win.
Yeah. I agree, but I love the Muppets. I wish they would do more. I wish they would bring back the great moments in history. I think that was an awesome show. They should totally do that. That was, something
Why
that
isn't it at
kept
the American Pavilion? Can't we
no
put
windows.
that? I
You know what?
guess.
I got a great idea. Let's take Club 33 out of the American Pavilion. Let's just kick them out, and then let's just use those windows up there for the
Oh,
Muppets.
give me back my lounge. I love that lounge.
No. But looking at this list of the, we know that these are the things that are available: Germany, Spain, Italy, flavors of America. The Noodle Exchange, the brewing that we were talking about, that's going to be at the Odyssey, which they've done some really neat things at the Odyssey. So I hope they really bring it with the Muppets in that building. And then the one that like I'm looking at, very excited about, is the Fry Basket. Did anybody here other than me do Fry Basket last time? No. Oh, you did? It was
Loved it.
great, right?
Absolutely. It was so good. It was so good. I love flights, man. Give me a flight of everything. Every booth should have some sort of flight I can try, because I want to try a lot of different things, especially in this situation. The Fry flight is terrific. I like that they're coming up with some new things. I was actually really impressed with the amount of new offerings at the booths. It feels like there's more than usual, but it also feels like a couple of the booths are just kind of stuck in what they always do. Yeah, Grease being one of them that's kind of stuck in what it always does.
Well, and I would say, though, that sometimes, again, it was like we were talking about classic attractions versus retheming them or rebuilding something new, is I always know that I'm going to go to Canada and I'm going to get the beer cheese soup. If you take that away just for variety, you're just going to make me angry. Like, that's got to be one of those things that people always go to. I don't know, Allison, if you have some go-tos of your own when it comes to food and
In
wine.
fact, that is one of my go-tos, and I
Yeah.
always get that. And there are a couple that I didn't see. I think, they always do scallops well. So wherever they have them, they're always cooked to perfection. They're always like the big Hokkaido scallops, just done in different styles. So anytime you see that, that's like a really safe bet. I am most excited about a Cioppino in the Americas, which is like one of my favorite meals, and they're like very regularly in restaurants in New Orleans, and you don't see them super often like outside of New Orleans. I'm super excited to try that. I feel like they'll do that kind of thing really, really well. But I didn't see like some of the stuff that I've loved in past years, like the nitro chocolate dessert thing. I don't think I saw, I don't know the last time it was there. But yeah, I like to see like inventive stuff and reimagining, even if something was really solid last year. All right, whole new menu this year, and let's see. That's the fun part of this. This is like tapas try new things all the time. Like we don't necessarily need standards, but don't take away my cheese soup. That's required.
They're saying in chat the yucca fries were delicious.
Oh my God, they were so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Am I missing out on something? Because we ran this article about this iconic Beaver Tails pastry. I don't remember eating an iconic Beaver Tails pastry. Is that it says returning to Epcot? Looks like it's going to be at the refreshment port. World famous pastries, Beaver Tails. Have I missed something there, Patrick? Is that something?
You have, man. Back in the day. Now let's sit down. We'll have a WWNT history lesson. The things that this network used to talk about repeatedly were the cheese soup, pretzel bread over at Le Cellier, the quesadilla, the cheese quesadilla from Pizzafari, which has been gone, I think, for 15 years as well, and the beaver tails. And the beaver tails were this iconic snack, and it's just, I mean, I think it's similar to like the elephant ear. I don't recall having them, but I'm excited that they're back. I just remember that the old heads, Jason, Tom, the mayor, Justin Heyman, would always talk about these things, and I'm excited for a chance to get them. I hope they hang around till next Food and Wine, because I don't think I'm making this one.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's definitely a thing that I've missed. The other thing to talk about, and Allison, I guess we'll lean on you for this one, is the merch, because I know that you're definitely definitely a big merch fan, but like if you look, like here's this pass holder shirt, and obviously they lean on Remy and Figment for when they do things for the Food and Wine Festival. But I don't love that shirt.
I love that shirt.
Do you really?
I do. I love that shirt. But can I ask you here? I need Rob. Come over here real quick. All right. This is what Figment's tail looks like, right? Why is his tail a croissant? It's weird. It's weird, and I don't like it.
Is it possible? And I'm just throwing it out there that his tail is holding a croissant.
I mean, I guess.
I don't know. They take liberties with Figment all the time. But then there's this windbreaker with the Food and Wine. Actually, it looks like maybe like a Spirit jersey with a zipper on the front. But I don't know. That's an interesting looking Mickey that they're using this year for that. So I don't know. And then the other thing is, I was at the Disney character warehouse at the Orlando outlets, and the EPCOT 40th backpack Loungefly. There's like 800 boxes of them there. So if you're looking for one and you didn't spend $70 or $80 on one, you can go spend $34 on one now. But they're bringing back something that looks sort of like that for the. And I love the idea that the circle on the back is Spaceship Earth. But that's the Loungefly that they're doing there. So if you're in the parks and you see Allison, she'll be wearing one of those. And then the last thing is that the
so busy, so much print.
The Eat to the Beat, Kamila. I think we talked about that on a previous show, but there are dining packages out there. But I mean, for me personally, I love that this happens and the music's playing and you can go by and listen to it. But I mean, I feel like if there's somebody that you really want to see, like the dining package is definitely worth doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll definitely want to get that, me and Patrick, when we go down in October to see Sugar Ray. Book it, Patrick.
I've seen Sugar Ray more than any other band, mostly because I go the week that they're playing at EPCOT every year.
Well, move
Mark
to the
McGrath
end of September.
Is a big Disney fan, so he's down there. He's enjoyed himself.
To be honest, the one that would make me happy is to see Sheila E. while I was there, because I'm a huge.
It's my birthday.
Prince.
It's my birthday
it?
for Sheila E. Yeah.
So we're going, you and me?
No, I'm not starting my AP in January. I'm gonna get a full 2024 that whole year. It's all Patrick at Disney.
All Patrick at Disney. Okay, well, we'll wait for it to come around the next time. All right, so basically, we've run over a little bit here, but not News Tonight over. So thank you guys for being with us. I appreciate it. I want to remind everybody that we love our WIGS members, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Thank you guys for being part of our family. We appreciate you so much. I'm sure you had a great time down in Orlando. Those of you who went to the Unscrupulous 16th anniversary of the blog. So hope you guys had a good time doing that. Don't forget that Carousel Products, we have a 16% off if you use the code 16 years through midnight. Actually, it's midnight Pacific time tonight. So go ahead and use that to get the new baseball cap or anything else that we've got on there, including, I think we still have some of those Figment shirts left. But if you want more information about how to be a WIGS member, go to patreon.com/WDWNT. They'll tell you all about how to join the family. And then also WIGS get a post show. We'll do a quick post show after this. So we appreciate you guys being WIGS members. Thank you guys so much. And then don't forget, we have Deep in the Plus this week. Allison and I will finally be able to talk about Anastasia, because they finally put it on Disney Plus, and it's exciting that we get to finally watch that one. And of all the things that we've tried to do, like Mrs. Doubtfire and all those that they went, nope, yoink, pulled off.
Yep.
And yep, Anastasia is back, and we're excited to be able to see it and talk about it. And then Ron and I talked last week about Rogers, the prequel to the musical, which was called The First Avenger. So maybe catch that one, and hopefully Patrick and I will be doing something again very soon. And Kamila, you still need to pick a movie for us to do. Any final thoughts on the night? We'll start with Allison and go around the horn. Any final thoughts, food and wine or otherwise?
Oh, no, now I'm just jonesing to go back to Disney. I'm excited about the discounts first and foremost to get me back. And then I'm excited about the few new events like Jollywood. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Talking about Disney, lights of fire. Yep. It's time to get back down there.
Yeah, Patrick.
I love that the American booth for Food and Wine is actually branching out to like more regional cuisine. I think that's great. I just looked at the list, and it's somewhere between 6 and 8 Florida beers that are during the Food and Wine Festival. You can have beers that represent other nations that are made in Florida. Florida has a vibrant craft brewing scene. Get more Florida beers there.
Okay, and you don't have to talk about Florida beers, Kamila. Any thoughts?
My final thought is the reason to go to the Food and Wine Festival is the Ireland booth, and specifically it is to get the Guinness Bailey's coffee shake. It is so good. You're going to want 5, but absolutely worth the trip.
Why would I want 5 of them? Is it this?
And you're going to have a great time. Yes. Okay. And I think you get to keep the little cup too. It's so fun.
Well, you had me at you get to keep the little cup. That's exactly, now I need one. Now I need one more than anything else in this world because I get to keep the cup. So that's great. Awesome. Yep. All right. Thank you guys so much for being on the panel tonight. Appreciate you. We'll be back next Sunday night for more ParksCenter. And again, Deep in the Plus tomorrow night. Go back and check out Disney Entertainment News. And then also, don't forget, Thursday night is another episode of News Tonight. Thank you guys for watching tonight and spending your Sunday nights with us. And if you're a Wigs member, we will see you soon. Have a great night.
Have a great week, everyone.
Woo!
Bye.
That was a lot of vim and vigor behind that one, my friend. Say it like you mean it. All right. Well.